Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a brand new edition of Horigin Files. So, this month we're delving into another slasher killer that is, of course, Norman Bates. So, enjoy the show, and I'll see you after this one. Horigin Files, Norman Bates, first appearance, Psycho. Species, human. Created by Robert Bloch, portrayed by Various. Norman Bates, working as a motel manager and owner of the Bates Motel, located in Woodpine Bay, Oregon. He just appears as a shy, socially awkward person that has a strong relationship with his mother, as it's revealed in the first Psycho film. But this man is anything but normal. Also known as Normal Bates to some people, Norman has a dark side, as, if anything, whether he meets a young woman and is touched or aroused by her, or anything that would get in the way of a woman's special boy, his mother comes in and deals with the problem by killing them. And Norman even covering up for her, even when he kills Marion Crane in the shower. And we are led to believe that this is actually Norman Bates' mother. But in a big twist in the events of the first Psycho film, it's revealed that Norman and his mother Norma are one and the same. As it's revealed, Norman Bates has two personalities. As 10 years before, after realizing Norman Bates' mother Norma has been dead for 10 years, it's revealed that Norman had an unhealthy relationship with his mother Norma, and when she started a relationship with another man, she grew abusive to him and was mistreating him. However, at one point Norman just snapped and poisoned her and her lover, killing them both. But then Norman, unable to cope with the reality of what he did, he dug up his mother's grave and preserved her body, where in his mind she still continued to live and age, where the alternate personality formed. And that is when Norman started to dress like her, act like her, even become her. And whenever anything got in the way of his fantasy or illusion of that reality he'd created, that is when his dark side of his mother would come in and take care of things. As at the end of the first Psycho film, it's determined that Norman was only half there, and that there was always a conflict between the two personas, and that the battle was over, and the dominant personality had won. At the end of the first Psycho film, it's shown that Norma Bates is now taken over as the dominant personality, and when seeing a fly on the hand, in his mind hearing her voice, he states she wouldn't even hurt a fly. Norman was put away for 23 years until the events of Psycho 2, where he was deemed sane and able to be let back into society, where he returned home to the Bates Motel and tried to move on, starting a new job, making new friends. But, of course, the sibling of his victim, Marion Crane, Mary Loomis, who was formerly known as Mary Crane, doesn't believe he's deemed sane and has her daughter, also called Mary Samuels, slowly get to know Norman and manipulate him into thinking he's gone insane again. But of course, after this, it was revealed that Mary was the perpetrator and they were causing Norman to try and break down again. But of course he did not. But upon the end of that second film, he made a truth. He discovered a truth that, in fact, Norma Bates wasn't his actual mother, but the woman that worked at the diner where he started working, Mrs. Spool, or Leela as she's known, is his birth mother, stating that she could not cope as she was out of wedlock and too young, and gave him to Norma Bates. Once Norman finds this out, he then kills her and takes her body upstairs and preserves her, beginning his dark antics once again. And by the events of the third film, Norman still continues these dark ways. However, when meeting a nun, or a trainee nun, Tracy, he discovers that she might be also mentally unstable as he is, but also Norman is manipulated as well by a musician named Duna Duke. And after the events of Psycho 3, he has discovered that he has not changed his ways and is taken back again. But by the events of Psycho 4, it's seen that Norman has been rehabilitated again and started a marriage with his nurse, now his wife, Connie. And in the events of Psycho 4, makes a phone call to a radio show telling his story of his young days, eventually working out that this is Norman Bates that they're talking to. Norman considers going back to his murderous ways after discovering that his wife is pregnant, but after talking him round, she tells him that he will be fine and a great father, and decided to destroy his past once and for all by burning the Bates Motel and the house to the ground, and was finally free. In this rendition, Norman Bates was portrayed by Anthony Perkins and Henry Thomas as his teenage portrayal. Psycho in 1998 saw a remake starring Vince Vaughn as the character of Norman. However, this was just a shot-for-shot remake, which was done intentionally as an experiment by its director. In 2013 to 2017, the Bates Motel series aired, which was a reboot of Psycho, where it saw Norman in the present day as a teenager, where it followed his origins and his dark times growing up, where in this rendition he blacked out and then became his mother. However, this was seen as a remake of Psycho. They changed things up slightly from the original story, but more or less followed the same format. Early in this version, Norman meets his demise at the hands of his half-brother, who he begs to put him out of his misery after the terrible things he's done. Of course, if you know horror, as a lot of horror fans do, you know that these crimes were inspired by a real-life killer named Ed Gein, which has gone on to inspire other horror characters such as Leatherface and Buffalo Bill. The mother obsession of Norman Bates, of Ed Gein, is what inspired Norman Bates, as Ed Gein had somewhat of an unhealthy relationship with his mother and wanted to create the illusion that she was still alive after she died. But of course, that's what makes true horror really scary. The fact can be more unsettling than the fiction. Yes, we all go a little mad sometimes. So there you go. This edition of Horigin Files, Norman Bates. Is there anything I missed about him, or anything I should have added? Do let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share with your friends, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. I've been Random Ross, and this has been Horigin Files. So until next time, don't have nightmares.